Raiders.
Oh, there's Ron.
Hey, Ron. Flip a light switch, strike a match. Just light something on fire. Welcome to Murf's Fan Cave from the Dago Dungeon. Join me, Uncle Mosh, as we join Raiders Fan Radio, taking a lighter journey into the dark side.
Okay, we're back. Look left, look right, Bolitnikov, a leaking pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Intercepted by Khalil Mack. Touchdown! Raiders! The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play.
Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Your old buddy Murf back here once again for another what we expect to be fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio here in Murf's Fan Cave. Can't thank you enough for joining us here after our a wee bit of a hiatus as we went through the start of the season. And gosh, the last time we were together, the Raiders were undefeated, and now they're just totally defeated, and as they're 0-2, which kind of stinks. But anyways, well, we'll get to plenty of that later. We're still enjoying the idea that it's the beginning of football season, man, and so that's always a good thing. And I can't do this show alone, so without further ado, please help me welcome to the annex in the Murf's Fan Cave desk, the one and only Uncle Mosh. Uncle Mosh, what's up?
Ooh, I am not further ado.
What is a do anyway?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. This is the first time I've ever been on television wearing a hat.
You are typically not a hat guy.
I'm not a hat guy. Why? Because I got a really enormous head.
You have literally the biggest head of anybody I've ever seen in my life.
In the history of the world.
In the history of the world.
I wear a size 8 hat.
Size 8,
yeah.
In a fitted hat.
That's
size
bananas. 8 in a fitted hat. And Pete Koch would say it's because we have great hair.
Yeah, you gotta fit all that hair under that number 8.
I gotta fit all that hair underneath my hat.
So to get started here at the top of the show, so as you can see, Uncle Mosh, let me go ahead and model there, Uncle Mosh. So Uncle Mosh is wearing his new Carhartt and 47 brand hat. If you're not,
I thought you were going to say size 47. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, you've been dieting?
Yeah.
So that's the 47 Carhartt, and he's got the I guess what do you call that? Khaki color, I guess.
It's Carhartt, brown.
Carhartt khaki.
Carhartt. And it's the Carhartt logo brown. Yeah. It's the Carhartt brown, and I love it, and it's great. Those of you that know me know I'm a hunter.
You're a hunter.
So, I'll wear this out in the woods. I can't wait to bring it in with blood stains all over it and everything. Yeah.
And I have the black version of it. It's the same material. It's that legendary Carhartt material. And so they've partnered with not only 47 brand, but also the NFL, and they were kind enough to send Uncle Mosh and I some gear. And we already like 47 stuff to begin with.
Absolutely.
Like you guys see me on this show, I wear a 47 hat on the regular, and I like Carhartt stuff because it's rugged and it's perfect for like working and playing outside, especially when you live in a cold climate like we do here in Tennessee. So the folks at Carhartt and 47 were kind enough to send us some stuff and asked us to shout them out, and we will gladly do it because we're not looking to shout stuff out that we don't believe in. And like, I'm going to wear this. You're going to wear that. Like, we're all about it. So check it out, Raider Nation. You won't be disappointed. It's pretty cool stuff. And so we thank those folks for sure, for the hookup. We thank them for the hookup.
Love it, man. Love it.
Very cool stuff. All right, Uncle Mosh, one other thing I want to, before we get to the rundown, we're going to have a guest coming up in a couple of weeks, and we'll I don't know if you have anything on it yet or not, but coming up before the Seattle game for the Raiders versus the Seahawks, the Silver and Black UK has a bunch of events going on over there, and you can go to their website. It's what is it? Is it Silver and Black UK? Do you have it?
Silver and Black UK. Is it .com?
I don't know. I don't know. We didn't do a very good job of preparing for that one. After all we've been preparing for the show for like 2 hours.
For at least 2 hours.
Yeah, and so, but anyways, I just wanted to give you a heads up that we're going to have Kev from Silver and Black UK on the show coming up here in the next couple of weeks. And we'll have Kev on, and we'll hear lots more about what's going on, but just be ready for that.
Kev did send us a little thing that we'll read from him in a little bit.
You want to do that now, or you want to do that when we get to
let's hear from Kev.
Go ahead, and I'll look up what the website is while you're reading that. Go ahead.
So Kev sent us a note. And it's a real good note. It's got some encouraging stuff, and it's from Kev in the UK, and he says, "Hey there, what's up, Murf, Uncle Mosh? Love the show, fellas. As you guys love the show, fellas, as you keep it real and in perspective." He goes on to say, "I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm looking forward to giving the Dolphins a beating on Sunday. If we play the way we've shown we can in the first half of the Rams game and pretty much most of the Broncos game, I think not only will we beat the fish on Sunday, but we'll actually have a pretty good season. I think we can win at least 8 or 9 games based on the positives we've shown over the last 2 weeks." He finishes out his email with a message to Raider Nation. We always love our folks when they give us a good message. And he says, "Hey, Raider Nation, stay positive. Stay behind your team. We've got great coaches. We've got great players. And it's going to take a bit of time before we see the full potential of this team. Stay supportive. Keep the faith in Chucky and DC. Just win, baby."
Nicely
Short,
done, Kev.
Sweet, to the point, Kev.
Nicely done.
Right on.
Nicely done. Great email. Thank you for the correspondence there for sure. If you ever want to email us here, you can email us at show@RaidersFanRadio.com. You can email us individually, Uncle Mosh at Raiders Fan Radio or Murf at Raiders Fan Radio. One way or the other, you can email the show, and
we'll get it.
Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that cover.
No worries. I got you, bro.
Burping.
Yeah. No. You bought me a shirt, man.
So, anyway, so Silver and Black UK is Silver and Black, spell it out, AND, UK.com. And it has all the information on their event that's going on over there before the game, and then we'll look forward to hearing from Kev as we get closer to that. All right, Uncle Mosh, so got a lot to get to today. As far as the rundown goes, we're going to get to just some contact information for here at the show. We're going to get into our player. We always honor a player with our number. This is episode number 95 of Raiders Fan Radio, and we're going to honor a player that wore the number 95. We're going to do our 4-minute offense. That is when we go over 5 Raiders-related stories in 4 minutes. We do it in 4 minutes in terms of a 4-minute offense because we want to keep it brief, because otherwise we'll be here for 19 hours talking about the Raiders. So we'll get into our 4-minute offense. Then we're going to do a little bit of review about the Broncos post-game, kind of what some of our thoughts were on the game. We have a lot of voicemails coming up later, so we won't get into it depth a ton. We're going to let you guys get into depth on it, and then we'll respond.
Why? Why will we let them get into it? Why? Because we're a fan show, and we love to hear from the fans.
Good call, Mosh.
Seriously.
I
mean,
right?
we're Raiders fan radio. We're not Raiders nerd radio where 2 nerds sit around and talk about the Raiders.
This isn't Raider Murf and Mosh radio.
Yeah. No, it's Raiders fan radio, man. We want to hear from the fans.
Absolutely, and that's why we're not doing an interview this week. I mean, we back down a little bit on interviews during the season. During the off season, when we got a lot of time, that's when we like to review and do, current players, former players, celebrities, that kind of stuff. During the season, we want you guys, though.
That's right.
Or folks like Kev that are directly related to any particular event that's going on. But outside of that, we want to hear from you. And so we're going to get to the Sea of Fans mailbag at the end, and we got a lot of those to get to. Great calls going all the way back from right after the Week 1 game up to right after the Week 2 game against the Broncos. We're going to hear from Coach Gruden. We're going to do Raiders.com and just their YouTube channel and Facebook or whatnot have done some fantastic content. This year, Mosh, the amount of content coming out of Oakland is just phenomenal. So we're going to go into Inside the Huddle with John Gruden. We'll talk a lot about that. We're going to get into a John Gruden return to Oakland segment that they did that was phenomenal. And then we're going to get into a little bit of a discussion about some news around the city of Oakland and what they're doing with the Raiders. We're going to talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame nominees that are coming up here for 2019. And then we got a fun segment to close out the show, what we like to call tailgating too much. Uncle Mosh, did I miss anything?
Page 2.
Hey, first off, before we get rolling here, we want to thank everybody for joining us here in the chat. See a lot of you, Raider Bear, Ron, Chevy Raider, Glenn, Joe Budiso, Tony Cappold, all you guys. Thank you for joining us so far. Appreciate the feedback. I will do my best to try to keep up with the chat as we're going, but so often I get distracted and stuff, so don't take it like I'm ignoring you. I see you there, and I'll try to respond to it as best we can.
And if they're watching on the YouTube, they see that you talk with your hands. So to type and talk, you can't do that. And this is a radio show.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, if you're going, and that's, of course, that's how I text.
Yeah, exactly. I get the funniest text from Uncle Mosh, and I'm like, oh, yeah, he's talking to text. He's not actually using his
talking
thumbs.
to text. Yeah, it's
because you can't use your thumbs. Because you would hit all 26 letters all
all
at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's
look
it's
at that
not,
thumb.
It's not pretty.
It's the only thing bigger than that thumb is your head. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. that was the. I usually see that look right before I black out. Because I'll see that look and then a fist and then all of a sudden I'm out. We were
at Thanksgiving dinner one time and one of your kids was acting up, and I was giving him the cut eyes. I was giving him the cut eyes, and John and Murf leans over to his oldest son and says, "See that right there? That's a spring. And when it springs, and when it sprungs, and when it sprangs." It's
a coiled spring, son. Yeah, that's Uncle Mosh's coiled spring. Just run. Absolutely. All right, so Mosh, so before we get into the show today, I had something come up this week, and this is just kind of a funny little irreverent thing that came up. I couldn't find a good place to put it in the show, so we'll just do it right now.
Right now.
Okay. So there's been a lot of talk about a player that we'll just say should not be named. Right?
Oh, no, it's the player formerly in our introduction, and after next week shall not be.
I know. I gotta rethink that one. Some people have said, don't change that because they like it.
No, it's gone. We will say Tom Hanks' name more than we will ever say this guy's name.
Not only is it that guy, but it's the other guy that used to call our games. It too, right?
Yeah. We'll go for the double bubble on that one.
Yeah, so those guys are on there. So, anyways, it's just silly how much talk is going on about this guy. And I get it. It makes sense. But anyway, there's been also a little bit of a backlash about the amount of talk about this guy that shall not be named. And so one of our guy that hosts a show on our network now, Chuck McCann, host of the Fan Club Blitz, he posted a meme. You know what memes are, right, Mosh?
Yeah.
And it's a meme of Samuel L. Jackson. And it says, and it's him as famously as Jules Whitfield from the movie Pulp Fiction, and that famous scene where he's staring down Frank Whaley and he's got a gun pointed at him and he says, "Say what one more GD time" is the line in the movie, but in the meme it says, "Say Mac one more GD time," right? And he's got to. Uncle Mosh, I'm a fan of a lot of things, and Pulp Fiction is one of them, right? There's a Pulp Fiction poster hanging right over here in the man cave, not far from me. I love that movie. And so that scene with Sam Jackson is one of my favorite scenes. It's brilliantly acted. And so I decided to take Chuck's meme and use it as an inspiration, and I made this, and this is going to be your first time hearing it too.
What does
Khalil Mack
look like? What?
What country you from?
What?
What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what?
What?
English, motherfucker. Do you speak it?
Yes.
Then you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Describe what
Khalil Mack
looks like.
What?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more damn time.
He's blue and orange.
Go on.
In Chicago.
Does he look like
an Oakland Raider?
What?
Does he look like
an Oakland Raider?
No!
Then why you talk about him like he's one Raider Nation?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And Raider Nation don't want to hear about anybody talked about but Oakland Raiders.
You like Batman, you like Pulp Fiction. You got way too much time on your hands. I love that.
You like it?
That is really funny.
Yeah, so say Mac one more GD time. Oh my gosh. It's enough with the Mac talk. All right. But hey, we'll get to him later.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us, show at RaidersFanRadio.com. Or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget Murf's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
All right, Uncle Mosh. So I said that we were gonna get ready to get started here, but I forgot. There's actually a couple more things that I need to. Well, I didn't forget. I just had them on the list here. Things that I really need to mention before we get going. First off, this is the 2-year anniversary, almost to the day, of Raiders Fan Radio.
Wow.
We started this show, in this incarnation of the show, 2 years ago. Now, it was started by myself and your other favorite nephew, Sonny.
Absolutely.
And we started doing this show together, but we had been podcasting together for really the better part of 7 years now, almost a little over 6 years. We started off doing a Madden show, and then we've done all kinds of stuff, man, mainly football related and mainly Raiders related. But then ultimately we landed on what is now Raiders Fan Radio, and that was 2 years ago, the 23rd, September 23rd, which is also my anniversary. I know. Start a podcast on your anniversary, Murf. That was... Yeah, but anyways, so
you're just trying to have as many wives as I've had.
Well, that's when the show posted. I don't think we actually recorded on that day. That's when it posted up. But I saw that number and I was like, "Ooh, that's interesting." But anyway, so God bless my wife. She puts up with a lot. So, but anyway, so the 2-year anniversary of Raiders Fan Radio. But one of the reasons why Sonny, who I just mentioned, is not part of the show actively like he once upon a time was that he's had another baby. Today. So congratulations to Sonny and his wife, Rachel, and welcome beautiful baby Joy is her name.
And she's gorgeous. And she's definitely fits right into the whole Dago Dungeon motif. She came in at over 9 pounds.
9 pounds.
21 inches long. Everybody's healthy. He said he had it in about 8 minutes. They got to the hospital. They told her push once, and they said they heard crying.
That's
so
awesome.
everything, everybody's healthy, happy, and we look forward to hearing from Sonny soon, and getting an update on what it's like raising a brood of 3 under 5.
3 under 5. Woo! It's busy. No time
that
to.
Might be a new segment.
The 3 under 5?
We got 4 under 5.
4 under 5.
No,
that's a 4
5 under 4 is what we got. I don't know.
5 under 4, yeah. But 3 under 5, yes, that's a lot, and doesn't leave a lot of time to go play podcasts. You know what I mean? So, anyways, congratulations to them and on the new baby. And so, all right, Mosh. So here on Raiders Fan Radio, we always name our episodes after a player or some significant date that's referred to by the episode number. So this is episode number 95, and so I chose a player this week. A little bit of a down note, but I thought it would be a nice way to at least honor somebody in memoriam that by doing it. And so the number is 95, and there's not really like a significant Raider that's ever worn 95, even if you go back to the 70s and stuff. There's not like anybody that like stands out as like, oh, this was a great player. Marquise Cooper wore number 95 back in 2008 for the Raiders. Marquise Cooper played for a lot of teams in the NFL. He had a long career, but he'd never spent more than like 1 or 2 years, I don't believe, with any one team. And so he was with the Raiders in 2008, and then tragically that offseason, he and some friends went on a fishing expedition out in the Gulf, and their boat capsized, and I think 4 out of the 5 of them lost their lives. Sadly, very tragic. So anyway, so we want to honor Marquise Cooper, honor the memory of Marquise, and the story has been made into a book. It's called Not Without Hope, and I can't remember the name of the guy that wrote the book. Nick Schuyler.
Schuyler? Schuyler.
Okay,
Schuyler.
Nick Schuyler. And they've optioned it. They're going to make it into a movie and stuff. So certainly going to be no shortage of remembrance for the guys that tragically lost their lives there. But again, one of them was an active Raider at the time there. So we definitely give props to Marquise and his memory, and remember him here on episode number 95 of Raiders Fan Radio.
Hey, Raider Nation, just want to say hello. This is Pastor Mondo of NationMinistry.net. You're listening to Raider Fan Radio with Uncle Mosh and my brother, Murf. Just win, baby.
All right. So 4-minute offense coming up. Are you ready over there with the timer? I'm ready with mine.
All right, so the 4-minute offense, we do 5 Raider stories in 4 minutes. Uncle Mosh, you got your list? Are you clocked in?
I'm ready. I'm ready, set, 3, 2, 1, go. Murf, you just went out to California. Why?
I
you
did.
went out there to see the Oakland Raiders.
I did. But they're not the Oakland Raiders,
They're the Oakland Raiders.
You mean the Raiders?
The Oakland Raiders.
No, they're not, according to everything that you buy, including that shirt, that awesome Raiders football shirt that you have on. Doesn't say Oakland Raiders on it. Nothing says Oakland anymore. And, in fact, there is a lot of cool gear, of course, at the Raider Image and at the fan store and all the other, of course, there at the Coliseum. But nothing says Oakland anymore. Like, they can't advertise the team as Vegas yet, but they are choosing to move away from using the city name of Oakland with all their merchandising. It's fascinating. You cannot find anything that says Oakland Raiders. Uncle Mosh, the Raiders are now 0-2 to start the season, and sadly, that leaves them with an 11% chance to make the playoffs. Teams that start 0-2 have an 11% chance to make it. That's not good odds right now.
Let me just tell you about numbers. I know numbers.
You love numbers.
Mosh knows numbers. You know the Jets? The Jets versus the Colts. Hello, in the early days of the Super Bowl, 18-point underdog.
Right.
Hello, in 2007, Stanford versus USC, 41-point underdog.
Okay.
When Mike Tyson fought Buster Douglas, 37-0 Mike Tyson was. Hello. In 1980, the U.S. hockey team was 1,000 to 1 underdog to win the Olympics. Guess what? All the underdogs.
All the underdogs.
You want to call us an underdog? You want to say I got an 11% chance of making the playoffs?
I like it.
Come on with it.
I like it. Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face, right, Mike Tyson?
Talk to me about the most shocking storyline right now.
Well, Uncle Mosh, there was 3 options here. If going into the offseason you'd have told me that, number 1, Gruden was going to be hired as our head coach, or that Khalil Mack was going to get traded in the offseason, or that the city of Oakland was going to sue the Raiders, I would have said the most shocking storyline to me was the Khalil Mack trade. Because, it wasn't unfathomable for them to hire Gruden because we knew we were going to get a new head coach most likely anyways. The Oakland thing is so dang volatile that who knows what was going to happen there. But I don't think anybody saw the Khalil Mack trade coming. That one certainly shocked me. What about you? Those 3, give me one.
I agree. I'm going to have to go with Gruden because I'm all about if a person is overrated, trade him. I'm going to go with the Gruden return.
You called Khalil Mack overrated?
No, I'm not saying that he's overrated, but I'm saying he's not bigger than the team.
I'm with you. All right, so, Mosh, so speaking of Khalil Mack, he's been overly promoted, I think, now since he's been traded. He's like the darling of the NFL. Once upon a time as a Raider, he had 5 sacks in a game. I don't remember this huge celebration of him as a player like it is now. What do you think?
That's right.
That's what it was like.
Crickets. Why? Because when he left, when he left the Raiders, all of a sudden he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Never mention him when he's with the Raiders. Why? Because nobody wants to give us props. I don't care who the player is. They don't want to give us props.
Amen.
All right, last one. Was Penn right to hold Miller back? Well, of course. It's Von Miller. He wants...
Hey. Not
What?
Von Miller. Colton Miller.
Oh.
In the player introductions before the first game, he kept Colton Miller. They announced... Oh, my gosh. We didn't make it. We didn't make it, Mosh.
We were so close.
We were so close.
All you were going to say was...
that the Raiders, in the introductions before the Rams game, they announced number 77, Colton Miller. Donald Penn grabs him and doesn't let him run out, and they have a little huddle and offensively, and they introduce the team as units. And they said, even the PA announcer didn't realize what was going on and said, and now your offensive line. And they all ran out together. And now your tight ends. And they all ran out together. And now your running back. And they ran out together. And I couldn't tell it was inaudible because everybody was so loud. I couldn't tell if they said Derek Carr or not. I don't think so. That your quarterback, Derek Carr. And then he went running out. So, Donald Penn kind of robbed Colton Miller from his very first intro. Do you like it or do you not like that? Do you like the fact that they were introduced as a team? And was this Donald Penn being a little bit,
Negative. It's because his name was Miller.
Hey, just one time, I need it.
Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, Uncle Mosh. We talked a little bit about the Rams game. They had we hadn't talked to you guys since that Rams game. I know it's been talked about quite a bit and quite extensively at this point, but just that was one observation from the game that the way that the introductions went down. Another observation from being there, the crowd turned on Derek Carr flat out. I was so glad to see that he had such a good performance versus the Broncos because it was pretty ugly in that Rams game, and I know you all that watched the game saw that. But what was surprising to me is, and we've been to enough Raiders games and seen Derek Carr enough times now, of course, and he's always played pretty well, but the crowd turned on him quick. I mean, and it was when they had that phantom pressure where he was sensing people that weren't there and he was just flipping it out of bounds without sidestepping, without waiting for a play to develop, without trying to create something. He would just throw it out, and the crowd turned on him. It was the Boo Birds were out. People were, yelling F-bombs. I mean, it was, and it's Oakland, so that's not totally surprising, but I was a little bit surprised to see them turn on Derek that quick. Now, that was a little bit of a surprising performance, I thought. I certainly didn't expect to see that, but, I just thought that was interesting the way that the crowd reacted to him.
I agree. I think what folks are missing is that Derek Carr had a game plan that was given to him.
That's true.
And we saw if you compare the two games, we saw a different game plan in the second game. Okay.
Yes.
So you got a plan. You stick to the plan. The Boo Birds aren't what he was concerned with. He was concerned with doing what his coaches and the folks that are the brain trust behind it told him to do. And you can look at it by the number of targets and who was targeted in the very next game. It was a completely different game plan.
Different game plan.
Boo Bird Gruden if you want, because that happens all the time.
Yeah.
But, and we're going to talk about this ad nauseum throughout the season. It's a 10-year contract. It's not a 2-game contract.
No, it's certainly not.
Come on.
He's looking at the big picture. That's for sure. And, Jared Cook had a career day. He passed the Raiders record for single-game yards for a tight end with 9 catches for 180 yards. The previous record holder was, of course, the fabulous Todd Christensen. And so Cook breaks that. And, something else, a little note, Mosh, that I'd like to throw out there. You're right, and I think that was the game plan, and I think that he was very clearly instructed to not throw at the corners. And when you look at it now, in the two combined games now, that Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib, the two starting corners of the Rams, they've allowed 37 yards combined through the first 2 weeks of the season, Uncle Mosh. 85 different cornerbacks. 85 different cornerbacks around the league have allowed more than that on their own.
That's what I'm saying.
Those guys are legit. That Rams defense is legit, and the softness of that defense is the linebackers, and that's what Derek Carr was instructed to do. Target the linebackers, don't test these corners. And look, I didn't like it either. I mean, I'm sitting there watching it, and and I'm seeing him almost like flinch as like people are, the pockets surrounding him, and I'm like, what is he doing? Like, why is he just getting rid of the ball? Well, that's what they told him to do, and I saw a really nicely worded tweet earlier this week, and I want to say it was Ted Wynn. I forget who it was exactly, but basically it was like, let's not confuse let's not confuse him being timid versus him following instruction.
Exactly. It's exactly
right.
What I'm saying.
Because in the game, I'm looking at it like, why is he doing that? Like, well, he's being timid. Why isn't he working it? He's so good at it. He's so athletic. He's got great feet. Like, why is he not trying to create more? Well, they told him not to do that. They told him if it's not there, get rid of it.
No, he did what he was told to do, and you can't fault a player for that. If a player's told to do something and they do it, then kudos to them, man. Kudos to them.
Absolutely. So that was interesting. So all right. So moving on. So this week, we got the Broncos this week. Mosh, you and I watched that game together. Disappointing to say the least. You lead 99.5% of the game and then lose it late. A few things that happen in that game. Really, it never comes down to one play. Sonny used to say this. Football never comes down to one play. Except sometimes it comes down to one play. And he's absolutely right. And sometimes it comes down to one play. Getting the extra point blocked. That sealed the win for them. Keith Smith, our buddy Keith, man, dropping that pass on fourth down. That was a dagger. Jared Cook had a false start that I'm sure he would have wanted back. Defensively, we leave the A gap wide open on an empty set. You and I are sitting there watching the game.
Not over the middle.
They motion out the running back. Case Keenum's back there all by himself, and we start screaming, somebody slide over. Gilchrist, somebody slide over and protect the A gap.
One guy can't cover two.
Exactly. And what happens? There goes Case Keenum bowling his way into the end zone there. So, there was a lot of things that happened, but there was also a lot of good to take away from that game. Keith Smith has gotten picked on a lot for dropping that pass, but he is also 100% responsible for Marshawn's touchdown.
Oh my gosh.
He freaking trucked fools on the way into that. That was an amazing play. Anything else in that game stood out to you, Uncle Mosh?
There was so much. There was so much that we were sitting here going crazy over, this Carr was amazing. His stats were out of this world, man. It was unbelievable. How many records did he break? It was crazy. What we saw was what we anticipated to see. And again, we lost at the very end. The two losses that we have, okay, who were they against? 2-0 teams.
Yeah, pretty good football. One of them's, pretty much penciled in to make a run in the NFC this year. Yeah. And the other one's the Broncos, which is on the road in Denver. Look, there's no moral victories and there's no feeling good about it, but I would say this. As bad as it feels that the Raiders lost in Denver, you had to be encouraged by what you saw. You can't not watch that game and not have faith in the game plan, the effort on the field. I know they were gassed at the end, but they never gave up. The body language was good. It wasn't ever anything like that. You never saw, there's not been any conflict or anything. You know what I mean? And those are encouraging. And then, it was nice to see the young guys, get some pressure up the middle, seeing Maurice Hurst, get that sack. And, I would say this also, Mosh, they're also improving. I know it's only 2 games, small sample size, but they're better in week 2 than they were in week 1. What do we always say as coaches, right? You want to see improvement week to week. Be better tomorrow than you were today. Be better today than you were yesterday.
Absolutely. And
right? That's it.
You don't want to peak at week 2.
No. No. Absolutely. So let's hit a couple of these chat questions. Let's see. Ron, if I can ask a non-critical fashion, what do you think Carr would benefit from one of these off-season quarterback gurus? To my knowledge, he only works with his brother. He seems to do better when pushed. Ron, I'm going to get to some stuff later. That's a great question. I'm going to get to some stuff later. Derek Carr's a pretty freaking good quarterback already. Now, I'm to answer your question, sure, I think he would be open to it, and I think anybody that would always benefit from additional coaching. But when you actually look at what his career looks like already, it's pretty freaking good, man. This guy, we're on the right track with Derek Carr. We made the right choice in paying that guy some money, and we'll see that. Let's see. Let's do one more here. Alberto, did anyone see how we could have easily gotten a safety in the fourth quarter, like under 2 minutes? I don't recall that directly, a safety play where we got pressure back there on Case. I don't remember that off the top of my head, Alberto. I have to go back. I haven't watched the game a second time.
No, I couldn't do it.
You don't remember that?
I couldn't do it either.
Yeah. Anyways, here, one last thing before we get to Coach. Colton Miller, Mosh.
Oh, my gosh.
The Raiders caught a lot of doo-doo on draft day drafting Colton Miller, and the young man is holding it down.
Yeah.
He's doing awesome over there. And you know what? If anything, Donald Penn is the weak link on our offensive line.
Colton Miller's saying, bring on the doo-doo. Yeah.
I mean, look at who he's gone against.
Hey.
I mean, these aren't chumps. These front fours, front sevens even, maybe not the front seven with the Rams, but certainly the front four, these are no jokes, man. I mean, these are some serious pass rushers that the Raiders' offensive line have had to deal with the past 2 weeks, and Miller's doing great, man. That's why
he's legit. He's legit.
He's definitely legit. He's only allowed one pressure in 36 pass block snaps against the Broncos through 2 games. Listen to this, Raider Nation. Through 2 games, Miller has not allowed a sack or a hit, and he ranks 25th among 73 tackles in pass blocking efficiency as a rook. We'll take that all day long. That is fantastic. So, all right, Uncle Mosh, anything else on the Broncos before we head over and listen to Coach Gruden?
No. Let's go. Let's hear it.
It was a tough loss. Really proud of our team. Had opportunities, I think, to come out here with a win. I credit Denver. I'll answer any questions I can. Everybody was gassed. All 4 sides of the ball. Their guys, our guys, everybody's guys. That's part of this league. It comes down to conditioning. It comes down to all of that, especially at the end of games.
Derek Carr show you anything?
Yeah, he did. He did well today. He did, what we asked him to do: protect the ball, move the football team. We had a critical 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. We didn't make the play. And then at the end of the ball game, we had 2nd and 4. I don't know. We had a false start that really hurt us. We could have put him away right there. I thought Carr played great today. He is a great player. I think he's going to be an outstanding player. Look forward to the days ahead. Hopefully there's several.
You got Cooper more involved there.
Cooper's involved every week. You see the Rams are pretty good what they did today. You don't have to be a genius in this league to figure out, it's hard to make a first down. Some weeks you're hot, some weeks you're not. Teams can take away one player if they want to. Somebody else has to step up, but he's going to be involved every week. I hope everybody's happy.
The loss of Dwayne Harris is inactivity.
Hope to have him back next week. And that's a tough blow again. Our special teams have, suffered obviously with losing our long snapper and our returner. Not only that, our number 1 cover guy. He wasn't able to go. Hopefully we have him next week for Miami.
How did Dominic Kamara did in that gunner role?
Yeah, he did good. Yeah, you take some shots. We did take some shots. We hit a couple in the second half. We had 1 called back for offensive pass interference, if you recall that. You can't hold the ball very long when they're blitzing like that with the rushers that they do have. We had balance today. I don't know what Derek was throwing the ball, but he didn't have very many incompletions. The one that were incomplete hit the ground, I think, hit our receivers in the hands. I think he could have hit every pass.
What was the process, I suppose? Is it just something that you're able to see up from the sideline, or is there communication from the club?
Yeah, we have people working up there, and they try to relay information to me as soon as possible, and our guys upstairs did a great job. They get credit for that.
All right, Uncle Mosh. So what do you think? Let me ask you this. So let's go a little big picture here, as they like to say in the corporate world. Let's talk from a 30,000-foot view.
Oh, okay.
Lot from Coach there. A lot of things kind of what we already kind of feel about it, and the guys in the chat talk about that he sounds a little deflated. Yeah, I mean, he just lost a football game, and I'm sure he didn't envision starting off 0-2 when he returned to coaching. So obviously we're all disappointed by 0-2, but what is your overall outlook so far? Give me your big picture view of how this season has gone.
I'm positive. But again, I got to go back to the big picture. we're in a rebuilding situation. We're rebuilding.
You think?
I do, man. I think
it's a true rebuild.
I think it's a true. I think
even though the core of like you look at the offense, a lot of the players are the same. Whatever.
Hang on a second.
All right,
Hot Rod. You'll have to tune into the other show.
I know, right?
reference.
I just totally Mikey'd you.
Yeah, you did.
I ask you a question and then talk over you when you give the answer.
So what I'm getting at is, I when I'm talking rebuilding, I'm talking about mindset. I'm talking about. About the whole
culture overhaul.
Culture overhaul.
I got you.
Good help right there. But that's what I'm saying is that you got to go back to the 10-year contract. Okay, you don't give a guy $100 million for 10 years to say, okay, we expect it to happen right now. We're gonna have good and bad days. But you got to see the improvement. And one of the things that Coach was talking about is he said Derek did what we asked him to do, and he did. He said when somebody goes down, somebody else has to step up. Bledsoe goes down,
Right,
come on,
right, yeah.
In comes a dynasty. So, seriously, I mean, we're in a cultural change, an overhaul. Look at everything from where we play, to how we're branded, to how we're thought of. I mean, to how our players think of our coaches. Come on, Raider Nation, we're in this for the long haul. We wouldn't be sitting here listening to these podcasts after how many losing seasons if we didn't buy in. So we're in for a dollar, in for a dime, man.
That's a great point. I want to touch on a few things you said there. First off, in the idea of the cultural overhaul, I think that's a very I'm really glad you said it. It's pretty profound. Because Mikey and I have had a lot of talks about whether we're rebuilding or not. But you're dead on. Yes, we are. And because I've been saying, no, we're not really rebuilding. It's very similar, when you look at the core of the team above. But you're right, though, in terms of rebuilding everything else. It absolutely is. It 100% is, and it should be, and they're rebuilding it. You mentioned Bledsoe. They're rebuilding. Look, whether we like it or not, Raider Nation, John Gruden has been watching the NFL evolve from the last time he coached to now. And during that time, Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots have emerged unmatched for being competitive year in, year out. Everybody else has a window. Everyone else has this 3, 4, 5-year window where they're going to do their winning, and then they go away for a while. The New England Patriots are the only team that year in, year out, you cannot count them out.
Nope.
Name 3 players on their defense right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know either. I mean, but you know what? When it comes down to it, they're probably going to be competing in the AFC. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, Josh. Who quarterbacks Alabama?
Tua.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying though, and he'll be gone.
Right. Oh, right.
And Nick Saban loses his seniors every year, and every year Alabama's number 1. It's the culture, it's the mindset, it's the idea of this is what I have in place because I built it, and this is what I have in place, and these are who I'm going to bring in to be on the sidelines until they're ready to go, until they have drank the Kool-Aid. And that's what Chucky's doing right now. He's mixing up the vat, and
well, that's a very interesting way to look at it. And I think that the quicker, and I'm putting myself in this boat, the quicker we start to think in terms of the way that the Patriots are run and not the way that Al Davis used to run our Raiders. And now, while Al Davis had long periods of success, he also had some really down times there towards the end. And the way that the modern-day NFL is constructed, and I don't buy into the whole narrative that Al lost touch and all that, but one way or the other, it wasn't working, whatever you choose to identify as why it wasn't working. But the Patriots kind of have solved the equation a little bit, and that's what Gruden's doing. So when we look at the decisions that they're going to make, that's the way that they're going to do it. They're going to approach it like the Patriots. Now, let me throw a couple things out there at you. One of the things that the Patriots do is that they rotate their talent at sometimes in their prime, right when they can garner the most value, right? So whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo, whether it's Lawyer Malloy, whether it's Richard Seymour, whether it's Landon Collins, whether it's Chandler Jones, right? You think about the amount of people players, Willie McGinnis, Belichick has traded away in order to get what? Draft picks, right? So, and that's what Belichick uses to build his team. So as of right now, in terms of the Khalil Mack thing and where we sit as the Raiders, John Gruden, in the midst of his culture change like you're talking about, in the midst of year one with 9 more to follow, he is going to have $70 million in cap space at the end of the year and 4 first-round picks in the next 2 years. Oh. Look, Raider Nation, I don't like losing to a guy like Mack, and I don't like losing games any more than anybody else listening. But I see a plan. There's a damn plan. You may not like the plan. You may not like how it's going today, but there's a clear-cut path in place, Uncle Mosh.
And we're in it for the long haul, baby. We always have been. We always will be. So let's go with it.
Let's go with it.
We got to put the trust where it needs to be.
Absolutely. And the other part of that plan is that so not only are you going to rotate all this talent in via the draft and acquire talent defensively and everywhere else, but you got to have a franchise quarterback, all right? So let's talk about Derek for a minute. And because people have been hard on Derek, and I was too. I was after week 1. We didn't do a show, but if we would have, I'd have been throwing some rocks too. I mean, I was not impressed with the way that week 1 game. Now, I understand it now 2 weeks after the fact. I get it, why it unfolded the way it did.
And we're passionate.
But in the moment, sure. No, I was pissed, man, just like everybody else was. But here's something about Derek Carr. After this Broncos game, Uncle Mosh, he has now become the fastest Raider in team history to reach 15,000 yards. Okay?
It's amazing.
It is amazing. He is now number 4 all-time on the Raiders passing list. Can you name me the 3 guys that are ahead of him? Stabler's number 1, okay? LaMonica's number 3.
Blanda.
Yeah, good guess. No, it's not Blanda. Think Gruden the first time.
Oh, okay.
It's Gannon, right?
Yeah.
So, Rich Gannon. So, now here's the thing, okay? Now, listen, so not only is Derek the first one to get there, okay? So, Derek, when you look at round out the list, he's number 4. Plunkett is 5. Mark Wilson 6. Flores 7. Jeff Hostetler 8. And Jay Schrader is number 9. Your brother, my Uncle Bruz, famously used to say about Jay Schrader, what do you call a blonde that screws a whole football team? Jay Schrader.
Yeah.
So when we look at this list, Stabler is number 1 at 19,000 yards. Okay?
Okay.
He threw 150 touchdown passes and 143 interceptions. Okay?
Got it.
So that's a 5%. What am I looking at here? So the interception percentage, look at a number, I'm not a numbers guy. But anyways, it's 5.8. It says interception percentage 5.8. But that doesn't make sense because it's almost a 1-to-1. Anyway, the point is that Stabler threw for 19,000 yards and 150 touchdown passes. Gannon threw 114 touchdowns, only 50 interceptions. Okay. Completion percentage of 62. That's high. That's great, right? LaMonica, the Mad Bomber, 50% completion percentage, 148 touchdowns, and 115 interceptions. Now let's get down here to our little buddy number 4. He's thrown for now 15,000 yards. He's got a 61.9, so essentially 62% completion percentage. He's thrown 104 touchdowns and only 47 interceptions.
Wow.
He is Rich Gannon 2.0.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to be somebody asked me the other day about what I thought about Derek Carr in the Bronco game, and I said, he looks like freaking Rich Gannon. That's the offense. That's very similar. Now, there's different tweaks and different things in the West Coast, but that's what we're going to have when it comes in terms of performance out of this guy. Look, I know he's not been that elite guy, quote, elite guy, because he's never like propelled us to any big playoff runs and whatever. Yes. But when you look at the numbers, you can't argue with it. Everybody wants to put Jim Plunkett in the Hall of Fame. The guy threw 81 picks and only 80 touchdowns. Come on, man. I know he won 2 Super Bowls, and I respect Jim more than anybody. There was no one more starstruck when they met him than I was when I met Jim Plunkett. But God dang it, he wasn't as good of a quarterback as Derek Carr is, and you're wanting to put him in the Hall of Fame? So, big picture, Raider Nation. Big, big picture on this stuff.
What do you really think?
Oh, we didn't even get to Derek Johnson.
Oh.
You're listening to The Violator, and I'm live on Raider Fan Radio. Where you at, baby?
I didn't mean to giggle over the violator, but you guys can't see him over the radio, but Murph's got a vein on his neck that gets to popping out. And the only two things that can make Murph's vein pop out these days are Mikey and Khalil Mack. And
people rallying against our quarterback, man. I'm sticking up for DC, man. I'm sticking up for him. I've been accused of being a Raider apologist, and I've had people take runs at me about, everything's rosy. I'm not. I promise you, I'm as real as can be, and in the moment, I'm just as emotional and irrational. But
I'm a Raider apologist. I don't have a problem with that.
Well, see,
I don't have a problem with that.
I just choose to see the good in things. I just choose to look. We can all rally against the fact that it sucks we're 0-2, and you and I can sit here and we can bitch at one another, but I would rather at least focus on the good things about it, because I watch football because I like it, and I want to be entertained by it, and I enjoy it. I don't want to watch it and be like downtrodden. And at the end of the day, and the veins popping right now, at the end of the day, Mosh, none of this will ever be as bad as it was back in the day. This is not Jamarcus Russell. This is not Lane Kiffin. This is not those days are over. Our kicker used to attempt 76-yard field goals because our coach wanted to give an FU to the owner. This is like glorious compared to those days. Yeah. So quit it, Raider Nation. Don't be sad sacks, man. Don't you sad sack on this football team.
Yeah, we don't do no sad sacking around here.
We don't do no dang sad sacking around here.
No sad sacks.
Take these two over to the garage, will you? I want them cleaned up before dinner.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Sad sack. This is not going to go the way you think. Sad sack.
It's really unfair. It's my team. It's my quarterback.
Sad sack.
I'll be lying if I say that it didn't bother me.
Sad sack.
Sometimes emotions is what makes a person.
It's my favorite.
Sad sack.
Especially because it's a Charger.
I promised Mess I wouldn't do this. But, as I said, there comes a time when
sad sack.
I'm not a sad sack, am I?
Sad sack.
You complete me.
Sad sack. Sad sack.
You know what's funny? We didn't. That just kills me. Because if we like football for football's sake.
Yeah.
And if we weren't Raiders fans, we'd just be fans of somebody else, and we'd just be just as passionate and having just as much fun. We're with some other team, but thankfully we're where we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And we have this nation behind us, and we have kills me.
We got to quit with the sad sacking, guys. We got to quit it. We got to focus on the positive. Otherwise, like the old saying goes, if you worry, you just get hurt twice, right? Like
nobody ever added a second to their life by worrying about anything.
Exactly, right? So listen, I respect the passion. And keep it coming. And look, and I see Raymond in there. There's some people taking, and look, I could take all the shots, man. It's okay, because there's no doubting my fandom. There's no doubting your fandom, Uncle Mosh. Nope. And regardless of how you choose to approach it, that's what makes Raider Nation so beautiful, is that we're all freaking passionate about it, and there is no other fan base like that.
Nope.
Now, that said, so I want to get to a couple of things here. I want to celebrate Chucky's return a little bit. He's even way back in the day, long before Raiders Fan Radio, in the early days of the internet. I'm talking about, during Chucky's first time through. Uncle Mosh, on my dial-up modem, I used to download the audio of John Gruden's press conferences so I could sit there in my spare room, the old fan cave, old fan cave, and, and listen to him. And he's just, to me, like, he's so knowledgeable about the sport, and I love I love seeing, whether it's a musician or an actor or an athlete, I love seeing somebody that's at the top of their game due to their craft, due to their embracing of their craft, whether that's, again, watching a De Niro or Eddie Van Halen or seeing John Gruden coach a football team. I love the idea that people are so good at what they do and so knowledgeable about it. It's just that stuff is fascinating to me. So I like listening to Gruden talk, right? I like hearing the guy. And if you listen to him long enough, you'll learn something from him. And the Raiders have done an awesome job this year with the content they've provided. And one of the things they're doing is called Inside the Huddle. And it's John Gruden's quarterback camp show that he used to do on ESPN, but he's doing it now on Raiders.com. And so I got a few clips that I'd like to play here that are awesome. And the first one, he talks about the young man, Maurice Hurst, our young defensive tackle at the University of Michigan. And just listen to this stuff, man. This is great.
Coach, I know you're really looking forward to some of these young defensive linemen that you have who have really shined so far in this preseason. How about Maurice Hurst?
Yeah, so far so good. We really wanted to upgrade our inside pass rush, and I think we've done that with P.J. Hall and certainly Maurice Hurst. Hurst comes out of Michigan. You see him working here against number 62 in training camp. We knew Hurst could rush the passer. He had a lot of production at Michigan as a one-gap penetrator getting after the quarterback. The big question we had is, can you stand in there down after down against those Semele and Gabe Jackson and these big guards? So we've been working on his transition to being an every down defensive tackle, getting off blocks, staying in his gap, keeping our linebackers clean, and finishing. But Hurst is a guy that is really going to help us as a three technique, outside shoulder of the guard and Paul Gunther's defense. This is us practicing against the Lions, and this is where he really jumped off the screen in terms of his inside rush. There's that inside move that he possesses. So he's going to be a fun guy to watch. He's still growing, and he will continue to improve because of the way he works.
It's good stuff, Uncle Mosh.
Man.
You know, isn't that great? I just love listening to the way that he breaks down film, especially breaking down a young player like that. That's going to be a force for our defense for years. I've got more in the interest of time. I know we're starting to run a little bit short. I'm not going to play more, but Raider Nation, go out there and check the stuff out. It's called Inside the Huddle. You can't miss it. The other ones that I have here, one on Jared Cook, and one where he just basically talks about the defense, about how he's got no excuses in terms of the loss when it came to the Monday night game. And so it's great stuff. So definitely go out there.
And I liked how he threw out props to Gunther.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
he definitely said that he believes in his coach. He understands the big picture.
Absolutely. All right, Uncle Mosh. So one more segment in terms of Gruden that I'd like to bring up. This is another feature that Raiders.com did. It was Gruden's return to Oakland. And this, to me, is what sells it all. This ultimately is what gets it. The NFL is a business. John Gruden is not from Oakland. He's not even from California. You know what I mean? He doesn't have any ties to the team, any regional ties like we do. Like we grew up in the South Bay. We grew up loving the Raiders. We grew up loving the A's or the Giants or the Warriors or whoever else, whatever ties, regional ties, and most everybody listening to us, at some point you have some sort of regional tie to it. Or even if not, even if it's just an emotional tie that you may have, like our silver and black UK folks.
Sure, it's a family or a culture, or it could be whatever it is.
Whatever, I mean, we talked to David Love from Scotland, and he was telling stories about how when he was a kid listening to Armed Forces Radio.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, anyway, but my point is, though, is that when in the NFL, in terms of coaches and not necessarily owners, but definitely players, they don't have any ties. Like, they don't have any ties to the team itself, like other than when they become employed by them, right? Like, there's not that emotional connection. Here's what I like about John Gruden. There's an emotional connection to the freaking Raiders. He's got it, and it is on full display when you watch this Gruden return to Oakland, and just listen to the passion in this guy's voice, and just kind of listen to the emotion that comes out. This is fantastic stuff.
Doesn't take much to get the juices flowing. When I see this place, man, I get fired up. Some of the greatest players, greatest games been played in this place. The walls talk to each other. You'll see when you get in there. It's great to be back. No place like it. Just how I remember it. Only better. My single most proud moment really was when Rich Gannon gave me a game ball. He gave me a game ball after one of the games. I think it was after the Jet game. It was great. I'm sure I gave some speeches that weren't always the greatest. I tried to put my heart into it. A lot of times it's just Chucky coming out. He's just coming out. He's excited. He's very excited, especially after the wins. It's going to be good. It's an honor to coach here, man. There's nothing like winning. Nothing like winning with the Raiders.
You don't hear coaches talk like that, Mosh.
No.
You don't hear that. You don't hear that passion. Let's go. Let's hit another one of these.
I love it. The dirt is still here. Real grass. Football. My first home game here in 1998, we played the Giants. We had a tough loss in Kansas City the first game, but my first home game, we got the ball on the 20. We ran 93 weak, handed it off to Napoleon Kaufman, 80 yards on the first play. That's how it all started for me, and that place was rocking. I remember coming here as the offensive coordinator when I was with the Philadelphia Eagles in 95, and we got our brains beat in, man. They beat us 45-17, and they loved every second of it. And I flew back to Philadelphia, and I said, man, I wish I was coaching the Raiders. There's just something really special about this place. It's cool. It's unique. Some of the greatest players that ever played here. And some of the best games of all time have been played in here. And we got the best fans of all. And now it's time to get going. Time to get this thing going.
How about that, Mosh?
Jeez.
Isn't that cool?
Man, I wish I was coaching the Raiders, he said.
I know.
You know, he's amazing. The walls talk to each other.
Yeah.
You know, I love what he calls himself, Chucky.
Yeah, you know? He like refers to himself is that the fourth person? When you
I don't know.
When you
He refers to himself as a fictional character.
Yeah.
You know? But the best part, man, the absolute best part, you know, I'm a teacher and I'm real passionate about what I do, and I'm big and I'm loud and I scream all the time and I'm always yelling at somebody and and my kids just kind of look at me and they just keep screwing up, you know, and I never really get their attention until I drop it down. You know, it's when they know that I'm serious. It's not it's when I go, you know, guys, I'm disappointed. You know, it's that bring it down. Yeah. And that's what I got out of that. You know, he drops it down. He says, man, I really like coming to this place. Some of the greatest, you know, and you could just
he's visualizing it, huh?
Yes, and he knows the dates and he knows the scores and he knows, you know, and he's looking at that and he's got the same old dirt. It's the same grass, you know, and he ran for 83 yards. You know what I mean? It's just and it's not him fired up. It's just him, man. It's just that you can just see that passion. Yeah. You know, I love it. I love it.
Good stuff. I got more there, but again, in the interest of time, we're going to have to get moving. But it's great stuff. Go check it out. Follow the Raiders on Facebook. I'm sure everybody does already, but in case you don't, follow the Raiders on Facebook. Follow them on Instagram. Follow them on their YouTube feed. And all this stuff is out there. You know, it's surprising to me that there's not more. Like, we get as many people watch Mondays with Mikey and Murf as watch these clips. And I'm like, what are you people doing? Like, watch that. Don't watch me. Watch them. watch Gruden. He's way more interesting. You'll learn way more about football watching him than you will listen to. But I'm thankful for the views. Don't get me wrong. But anyways,
but he doesn't have two guys fighting all the time.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. All right. So all the good grace that, you know, has been extended here. So all this positivity, and Uncle Mosh, Here's a little bit of a down note this week. The Raiders, big surprise, are getting sued by the city of Oakland.
New at 6, the Raiders are kicking off what could be their last season in Oakland. The threat of a city-backed lawsuit has the team threatening to leave sooner than planned. KPIX5's Phil is here on how taking the team to court could come at a price. Phil?
That's right, it really could. Millions, if not more, of dollars are at stake. But it's also a big emotional push for the Raider Nation.
Raiders!
From the heartbreaking move to Los Angeles to the new heartbreak of moving to Las Vegas, no Raiders season is complete without some sort of drama. And this latest threat by the team to leave at the end of the current season if the city sues them is no exception.
I got to kind of side with the Raiders a little bit.
I'm not coming back.
The issue, according to City Councilman Noel Gallo, is the city's claim that the Raiders' move to Las Vegas will leave taxpayers holding the bag for stadium improvements.
An investment for over $200 million that the citizens of Oakland made to have a professional Raider football team.
Coliseum Authority head Scott McKibben said the Raiders are in the midst of negotiating an extension on their lease and that they were thinking of playing at the Coliseum until their new Las Vegas stadium was ready. But that's changed with the threat of a lawsuit.
There's a lawsuit filed that they have no intentions of staying.
So far, the city is not backing down.
The way the Oakland Raiders under Mark Davis have treated this city, these residents, has been shameful. If they only play another day here, so be it.
But a Raiders exit will come at a cost. For starters, the team pays about $3 million a year in rent. Then there's the issue of jobs and concessionaires.
We employ a little over 3,000 people on game day. There's a loss of jobs, there's a loss of sales tax, there's a loss of other economic impact to the community.
A price the city appears ready to pay.
As far as I'm concerned, I represent the citizens, and we want compensation.
But stay or go, for many fans, it's all just part of being a Raider fan.
This is a game. We fans know.
Wherever they go, we follow.
And they may follow them, with the likely places either being Spartan Stadium at San Jose State or Levi Stadium where the 49ers play in Santa Clara, which actually was built to accommodate two teams. On the other hand, the Raiders could be the Raiders and do what they've done in the past, which is change their minds, in which case this Raider Nation would be more than happy to be back here again next year. In Oakland, Phil Mateer, KPIX5. Back to you guys.
All right, there you go. So Raiders no strangers to lawsuits, right? Like, you know, Al kind of started that ball rolling, right? And that's what, so there's a couple things that I want to ask you about. So I don't want to get into the minutia of the actual, you know, the numbers and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't want to get into the politics of it because there's no, like a lot of things with politics, right? There's not a good answer. There's kind of like two sides, and you got to pick a lane. Sure. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's not a good answer and a bad answer. There's just an answer. You know, sometimes there's just like the lesser of two evils you got to choose between. And so, you know, but here's what is concerning to me is that, and I don't live there anymore. You don't live there anymore. We're out of market, so I don't really have a, you know, use the Tennessee term. We don't really have a dog in that hunt when it comes to the outcome of the lawsuit. Obviously, it'll have a negative impact if the Raiders do leave early. But part of the lawsuit, unless I'm wrong, and the way I understand it, is that they're going to try to take also the colors and the name. And they're trying to keep that in Oakland. Now, I don't know how big of a part of that is of the lawsuit. But if you think about like what Cleveland did when the Browns left and became the Baltimore Ravens, they didn't become the Baltimore Browns. They became the Baltimore Ravens, and those colors and that everything stayed behind. Not like when the Indianapolis Colts left Baltimore and became.
You mean at night?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So I ask you this, and this is where, and there may not be any actual like, I don't want to say legitimacy, but the odds of this are probably minute. It's probably less than 1% chance this would actually happen. But I think it makes for an interesting conversation. Would you be a fan of the Las Vegas Renegades if the Raiders leave Oakland, and Oakland has no intent of building a new place for the Raiders to play? So essentially, the Raiders would cease to exist for the most part. The color scheme, the name, everything stays in the city. This team moves to Las Vegas and becomes the Las Vegas Renegades. Would you still be a fan? Ooh,
that's one of those. That's one of those things that you know. It's an if question, you know.
It's an if on an if.
It's an if on an if. If, and I got to go back to, you know, where we are, a local colloquialism. If a frog had wings, would he bump his ass when he jumps? You know, frogs don't have wings; they won't have wings. If the city of Oakland wants to fire up a lawsuit and claim that they own the silver and black and they own the logo and everything else, they don't have a clue who they're taking on, and they're taking on the NFL. You and I talked about it earlier.
That's true.
There's a big three. There's Disney,
right.
There's Sony, and there's the NFL. you don't mess with the big three. Sorry, it ain't gonna happen. So it's not. It's a non sequitur argument. It doesn't flow.
I get it.
So I'm not being cocky and saying I can't dignify that with an answer, but I really can't answer that because it's not even an option.
All right, I got you.
I mean, it's just not going to happen.
I got you. That's fair. I think that's a fair response. I thought it was kind of interesting because I never thought of it in that term because I'm such a pro Raider guy. I'm like, I don't care where they damn play. I'm going to be a fan of the team. But then I thought, well, what if they were the Raiders anymore? What if they were the Las Vegas Gamblers? Like, would I root for? I don't know. I
might not root for them, but I bet on them.
But I don't know. I think if anything out of all of this, if anything were to challenge my fandom, that would be the thing. That would be the one thing that would start me to pause. I don't know if I could embrace it.
I
don't know if I can embrace it. If they're not the Raiders anymore, if they become something else, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know. But anyways, it's interesting. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on, and let's get to one more story.
Hey, this is Pete Koch, former Los Angeles Raider. Yeah, back in the old days, baby. And you're listening to Murf and Uncle Mosh, who happens to have the same hair as me. Check it out, Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, Uncle Mosh, let's just do this. Let's do a 2-second version of this because we got to get to the Sea of Fans mailbag. Okay. The Raiders, the NFL announced, or the Pro Football Hall of Fame announced their list of nominees for 2019, and they always have a big, huge list.
Sure.
But there are 4 Raiders on the list of potential Hall of Fame candidates for the 2019 class: Tom Flores, Albert Lewis, Steve Wisniewski, and Eric Allen. Uncle Mosh, out of those 4 names, which one is most likely to make a deep run on this?
Wisniewski. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's my guy. And I'm telling you, because again, being the Raider apologist, sorry about that, being the Raider apologist, the guy played from 89 to 2001, played his entire career for the Raiders, never missed a start. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
You and I talked about Albert Lewis. He had an 11-year career with Kansas City before he came to the Raiders.
Right.
And Eric Allen was with the Eagles, and he did 3 years with the Raiders at the end there. And his best year with the Raiders, he had 6 picks and 3 touchdowns, but he also had, 6 picks and 4 touchdowns with the Eagles. These guys were great, but were they great? Were they never missed a lineman, and he never missed a game, and he played from 89 to 2001.
So it's like 200 and some games,
That's
right?
A stud,
it's like
dude.
206 games.
And as far as coach
started every game he ever played in.
That's
game, yeah. Fascinating.
That just doesn't happen. And so, as far as Flores goes, you and I have talked ad nauseum about that. We're 100% in agreement on that, and you're so much better with the facts. But I want you to hit on Flores, but I definitely want you. What a coach, did all that great stuff for us back in the day, but he also had his downtime. And when you look at our Raider Hall of Fame coach, Madden, come on. Throw some comparison out there.
Well, and I don't have the numbers here in front of me, but I'll kind of rattle off the top of my head best I can remember it. Here's the thing, and I've pissed off a lot of Raider Nation. I've doing that a lot here lately. That's okay though, because
I don't. If we had won both those games, they wouldn't be that many.
I know, right? Yeah, there wouldn't be that many. That's exactly right. But anyway, so here's the way that I look at it. And again, I know I'm not the consensus generally is that Tom Flores, 2-time Super Bowl winning coach for the Raiders, should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't agree. And the reason why is that I think when you look at the big picture about how the Raiders were built, the way the Raiders were coached, the overall construction of the Raiders was 100% solely responsible back to Al Davis. Like, he was responsible for everything, and Al Davis was in his heyday. He was in his prime of team management during the time that Tom Flores won those 2 Super Bowls. And now I don't want to diminish his accomplishments by calling him a puppet or a lackey.
Not at all.
Not at all like that.
No.
And I value Coach tremendously. But I think in terms of the Hall of Fame, when you look at the Hall of Fame and you consider that Al Davis was the one that was really responsible for why the Raiders won the Super Bowl those 2 years, I think that dings his overall position in terms of Hall of Fame voters. And look, and that's why he's not there now. So this is not like some new thing that just Murf invented. That's why he's not there now. The second part of it is that when you look at the last 5 years of his career, he didn't have a winning record. And when you look at, especially with his time in Seattle, he didn't even finish above 300. Like, he had like a 261 winning percentage as part of the Seahawks. It wasn't very good. And Hall of Fame coaches don't do that. And if so, and even if we just take that out of the equation, if we take the Seattle part out of the equation and just look at him as a Raider, you mentioned we have a Hall of Fame Raider coach. Like, we have John Madden is in the Hall of Fame. John Madden had like a 759% winning percentage, never had a losing record in the history of his time as a coach.
His worst season was
9-7. 9-7 year. Never had a season where he finished below 500. Won, of course, the Super Bowl while competing against the greatest teams of all time, the freaking Dolphins back then and the Steelers and all those greatest teams. And in only one more year of tenure, he had 10 years with the Raiders, Flores had 9, he had 20 more wins. Like, it's not even close. When you look at actual
Hall of Fame criteria.
Sure. Madden blows Flores out of the water. And so you just don't put coaches with those kind of knocks against them in the Hall of Fame. And look, I think if any, because Plunkett's the other one that gets constantly brought up and overlooked.
Right.
I think Plunkett's the one that there is no 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback that's not in the Hall of Fame. And here's where it's going to really get interesting, and we got to hurry up. First off, I agree with you about Wisniewski. He's the one that's going to make the long run here. But I think that what's going to get interesting is when Eli Manning comes up. Eli Manning is the modern-day Jim Plunkett. 2 Super Bowls, really doesn't play all that great all the time. Kind of throws a lot of interceptions, has a lot of talent around him, has won 2 Super Bowls. There's no arguing that. So when Eli retires and he comes up, is Eli Manning a first-ballot Hall of Famer, Uncle Mosh? If the answer to that question is yes, then it's got to be yes for Plunkett.
Sure.
If it's no, then I don't think Plunkett ever gets in.
It's a sticky wicket for sure. But is it all based on Super Bowl wins? You know, it can't be. It can't be. It's got to be the overall picture. When you're looking at Hall of Fame, it's got to be the overall criteria.
It's got to be overall. And and look, and the diversity portion of this is not lost on me. The achievements that Tom Flores had as a Latino coach, I get it. But again, that's an Al thing. That's not a Flores thing. Right. They're not going to put you into the Hall of Fame because of your nationality. The fact that barriers were broken, that was Al's responsibility, not Tom's. I guess I get it. He was the guy. But whether it's Art Shell, Amy Trask, you name it, that's Al making those decisions. That's Al doing that. That's why Al's in the Hall of Fame, because he broke those barriers. So it's just it's tricky, but I don't think Flores is
and not to disparage Tom.
No, not
at all.
And that's the thing,
or Plunkett.
No, not at all.
At all. But when you look at the criteria, you got to look at the whole picture.
Absolutely. All right, Uncle Mosh, let's go ahead and let's get into, before we run too long, let's get into the Sea of Fans mailbag.
He is fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's fired. He's thrown. It is.
It's different.
You got me. All right. I pulled my headset off and everything. You got me.
It's different. You know what that is now?
That's the one from Monday.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's
I
me.
recognize your cackle.
That's me and Harley in the black hole when Marshawn carried the entire Rams defense on his back into the end zone. That's now. So instead of, I figured that was a little more appropriate than having the A's game. Now instead we got the Marshawn play, which was phenomenal to see it live, by the way. All right, so first up, Uncle Mosh, we got a lot of Sea of Fans to get to tonight, so we'll just get right into it. If you want to call the show, call us at 909-345-3346. You can leave a voicemail for us. If we play your message 3 times, you become a made man on the show. Most recently, Ken, Monster Mash Ken, is our latest made man. And so we got a lot of new callers. We got some made men. We got some calls back from after the Rams game to calls that are right now up after the Broncos game. So we're going to get to them. We'll get to them quick. And first off, we got a new caller. We're going to hear from Brian in Ontario.
Hey, Uncle Mosh. Hey, Murf. Brian Nickel from London, Ontario, Canada. My first call. I don't want to I just want to touch on kind of the Mac situation, but the only thing I want to talk about, I have 2 things I want to talk about with the Mac thing. Just quickly, I want to kind of stick up for Khalil Mack in the sense that hear a lot of people saying that he put himself above the team, and that's they're good to see it. That's the reason why they're happy to see him go or whatever. But I don't think you can say that he put himself above the team and didn't want to be a Raider, and at the same time say that the Raiders made a good business decision, because it's a business on both sides. We as fans sometimes don't want to say that or believe that, but a lot of these guys don't pay attention to football. They didn't grow up Raiders fans, so they don't have the same feeling. So I just want to stick up for him that way. It's a job to him, and in your job you want to be paid as much as possible, especially when injury or even worse could be on the line. But anyways, that's enough about the Mac stuff. The other thing that comes from this that I'm a little bit concerned about is the relationship or lack thereof between Reggie McKenzie and John Gruden. You guys sounds like you recorded the show before the Gruden press conference, so I'm curious what you guys think on Reggie McKenzie's standing with the organization. I don't think he's long for this organization. I can see him being replaced fairly shortly. You can only get thrown under the bus, I guess, so many times. But anyways, that's enough about all that stuff. Really still looking forward to, I'm a huge Mac fan, but I'm still really looking forward to the season. The defense is something that I'm looking forward to for the first time in a few years. It takes me back to when I don't know if you guys remember the feelings when we first signed Bruce Irvin and Sean Smith and Reggie Nelson, and we got all those guys who were like, this defense, they're going to be monsters. Not the case. But anyways, thanks for the show. Thanks for everything you guys do that way. I'm out. Go Raiders.
Uncle Mosh, what do you think? Reggie McKenzie.
Ooh.
Over under on Reggie.
I'm sticking with him. I think
the Raiders need a numbers guy.
They do.
They need a numbers guy. Gruden may make the personnel calls, but I think Reggie's your contracts guy.
Brian from Ontario it was a good call, and he did say something, though. He kind of got me. Nobody was happy to see Mac go. I mean, we're having some fun.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We're poking fun at him, ranking him up there with Tom Hanks. But nobody was happy to see him go.
No.
That's
why we're so hurt by it.
We freaking
love the guy.
Yeah, we were in a little bit of mourning. Now, we by any means are not going to go buy Chicago Bears jerseys.
No.
All right?
No.
But nobody was happy to see him go, but we do understand it's a business.
Absolutely. All right, next up, let's get to our buddy Ken. Speaking of made men.
Murf, Uncle Mosh, this is Monster Mash from New York, Ken Cruz. Thank you so much. I'm very honored to be made a made man. I let my wife listen to that segment. She was rolling. She was laughing. She loved the music. Love you guys. Thank you so much. It's a real great honor. Anyway, Murf, sorry that they didn't pull out a win for you on the game. I love seeing the pictures on Facebook, and looks like you guys had a great time, or Murphy had a great time. Yeah, man, I think Derek looked really shaky. I don't think he's ever been the same since his injury in 2016. It looks like he gets a little bit more nervous and throws the ball away really quick. I know they were working on him trying to get that ball out under 2 seconds, and I just don't think he's given the plays enough time to develop. And he's trying to get rid of the ball, and he's checking it down, or he's throwing it out, or it just didn't work out last night. They came out firing on all cylinders. That beast mode run was just ridiculous. That was awesome. And then Jared Cook, man, lighting up the stat sheet. I'm proud to say that I have him in all 4 of my fantasy leagues. I think we were just we played that first half, and then McVay and Wade Phillips figured out a way to beat us, and Gruden just didn't adjust as we wanted to. It kind of reminded me of our past coaches, but you know what? It's the first game. We didn't play all off season with all the starters, so we'll see what happens. I think if we figure out a way to get to the quarterback, and I'm not going to even go there with Khalil Mack. I mean, that you guys didn't get to hear the announcers on the Monday night show. They were just every other play. It's just like, okay, we get it. He's gone. Move on. But nope. And now we got who knows what's going to happen on social media this week, and it is what it is, right? Anyway, great job with the show. Keep up the good work, and looking forward to watching the game and hearing your guys' take this week on the podcast. All right, what's up, Lil Murf? Take care.
I love Ken. Always gives Little Murf a shout out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great job, Ken. Appreciate the phone call, as always. So in terms of the Mac stuff, and I see that we got some stuff going on in the chat. We got guys that are, rallying for Khalil Mack. Look, I get it. And like Uncle Mosh is saying, we don't not miss the guy. I don't think John Gruden doesn't not miss Khalil Mack. Of course they miss Khalil Mack. Of course they miss, somebody of his caliber. But, they had a decision to make, and was it worth $90 million guaranteed dollars? And the answer to that question was no. You're not going to tie up 26% of your salary cap between 2 players. It doesn't happen in the NFL. It still doesn't happen in the NFL. The Raiders weren't going to be the first one to do it. So instead, you take the 2 first-round draft picks, just like we talked about, because if you remember the narrative prior to that, it was, well, no one's going to ever do that for a defensive player. And then the freaking Bears did it, and the Raiders accepted it. And I don't think John Gruden has any delusions of the pass rush was going to be unaffected. No, of course they're freaking.
Check your pulse. Your vein
I'm sorry.
Going again.
Of course it was not going to go. Yes, I don't. That's not a shock. You people, the proverbial you, act like John Gruden is just some freaking guy that's just fumbling his way through this stuff and oh my gosh, I can't believe that we're not having an effective pass rush because we. You think that that's a surprise? Yeah. You don't think that was taken into consideration and accounted for? Don't be so small-minded, man. Don't reduce yourself to such simple thinking, man. Wrap your brain around the big picture. And Raymond, I'm talking to you.
I love what Ken said. About we thought, because we all thought the same thing about DC. We all thought, and then what did DC do the very next week?
Yeah, and then he goes off.
Makes a liar out of all of us.
Exactly.
And I love to have DC shut me up.
I
love
exactly.
that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go. We got to move through this here. Let's get to Alaska Raider.
Hey, Murf, Uncle Mosh, this is Alaska Raider, man. I know you heard me, Murf. Dang it, man. I'm so disappointed in Carr right now. I'm freaking out, man. Give you guys much love. Love your show. Take care.
All right, there's Alaska Raider number 1, and we got one more. Alaska Raider number 2.
Murf, Uncle Mosh, this is Alaska Raider again, man. I'm calling you guys double because, I'm a passionate Raider fan, and I am upset, man. Carr had no passion tonight, and I know Carr has passion, and it's brutal. I don't know if it's a Khalil Mack trade, what the deal is, dude, but guys, I am upset, and I'm sure Raider fans are upset. We played a hell of a game, dude, till halftime, and then it just went to shit. And I don't even know. It almost, to my heart, I'm like, did Carr just give up because of Khalil Mack being stick it to Gruden and be I don't know, he had no heart. He tried to throw it out of bounds, and he threw a 5-yard pass to the other team. It's are you kidding me? He had no passion. I know you guys feel that, dude. I don't know if he's a broken heart. Man, I love the Raiders. I'm sorry, I don't like cuss. I'm upset. I appreciate your guys' hardcore Raider passion. Murf, you're the super bright, and I love hearing you guys, but sorry. Drinking, thanks. Take care.
You know what I love about Alaska
him,
Raider? Alaska Raider doesn't know, but Derek Carr dedicated the Broncos game to Alaska Raider just to show that he could. It wasn't posted anywhere on the internet or social media, but yeah.
That was a fantastic call.
That was so funny.
That was great. Alaska Raider, call us back, man. Love your passion. And you know what? And you know, we get and I think I can't remember what show I said on. We do so many dang shows nowadays. But you know, if you catch us in the moment after the game, if you flipped on microphones and recorded us on the couch,
it was awful.
5 minutes after the game, it's not this kind of rational, sensible approach. We're just as fired up and passionate and sometimes four-letter words as everybody. So don't take this as you know, again, that
no, we are not Pollyanna when it comes to watching
Pollyanna.
The game. Yeah.
Exactly. We're definitely realists. We were pissed, man. Yeah. We're pissed, and so I get it. And the passion, love the passion, and that's what makes Raider Nation so great. All right, let's hear up from another new caller, our buddy Alex in Tucson.
Hello, my name is Alex Sandoval, and I'm from Tucson, Arizona. I just wanted to call and leave my rant. So yesterday, Sunday's game, we saw that Mac was the first player to have 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovered, and 1 interception, and 1 touchdown for the first time since 1982. But you know what? The Chicago Bears still lost. What does that mean? Mac does not equal win. $23.5 million a year? No, thank you. I can't think of a time other than the Carolina Panthers game where Mac actually affected the win with that strip sack with Cam Newton. Other than that, I can't think of Mac winning a game for us. He's definitely a good player, but he's not worth the amount. Thank you.
All right, great job, Alex. Yeah, I mean, now that said, this last game against the Seahawks, you could argue that Khalil Mack's impact did win the Chicago Bears the game. I mean, that or was it Fuller that had that pick? No, Mukamara had the pick 6.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of sealed the game for them. But anyways, defensively is what won the game for him. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, this is the argument or the analysis of it shouldn't be, is he generational talent? Is he capable of determining the outcome of a game? Is he, once in a lifetime? Yet the answer to all those questions are yes. He is all those things. The analysis is he worth what the Raiders would have had to sacrifice to keep him? And the answer to that question is no, because the Raiders have a quarterback to pay. The Bears don't.
We talked about a game plan. And how Derek Carr in the Rams game stuck to the game plan, even though we didn't like it, stuck to the game plan. Well, I guarantee you, the Oakland Raiders have a business plan.
Yes, great point.
And he didn't fit into it, so there it is.
He's a Bear, and we got a bunch of picks now.
Yep.
All right, let's hear from your favorite.
All right, my man Q-Dog.
Sir, the Q-Dog Raider calling from the east side. Going through some things. I had just made my ticket and plane arrangements to go see the Steelers play our beloved Raiders out in Oakland, Alameda Coliseum. Q-Dog's making his pilgrimage to the town. I was drinking bourbon. I just kind of drifted off. I was in my backyard. I was watching the Blue Angels. They were taking formation. They were training as I was visiting South Florida. I think I might have been in Picola. I don't know where I was. Things got murky and cloudy. I set my bourbon down. I had this vision. Khalil Mack was traded for 2 first-round draft picks. Nah, that couldn't be the case. He couldn't leave us for $141 million. Surely he was going to show up as Reggie and Chucky had told him to. Just come to camp and negotiate. I know we can work this out. So I roll over. I pull the covers up a little bit closer. And the season's about to start. So, it's about time to wake up, get it in, view this opening season. So much promise on the horizon. And then I see a vision that, I don't know, Martavis Bryant. He was released from the team, but we gave up a 3rd-round pick for him. But I shake that off. The first game of the season, we're playing the Rams. Everything, is on the line. We done talked about it and talked about it. We're going up against a championship contender. We're looking good in the first half. We go into the halftime with a 3-point lead, and then we come back out, and once again we crap the bed. What in the world is going on? This is turning into a nightmare. I see visions of Reggie Nelson trailing the wide receiver and his quarterback on both sides repeatedly for 4 quarters. Why can't we cut him? Jelly Ellis, oh my goodness, he's hurt again. Then Amari Cooper, he does a holdout in the middle of the game. He doesn't show up. He doesn't catch a thing. Then he wants to throw shade against our defensive squad, talking about we have to score every other possession. What in the world is going on? Q-Dog, wake up, baby. Oh, my goodness. I shake it off. I look up, and all this has come true. This wasn't a dream. This is reality. So let's get to the hit list. People got to go. Reggie Nelson, get the hell out of town. I don't know what we got to do. Call in a strike. Formations. Drop the bomb on him, baby. Get this dude out of our secondary. Frosty Rucker, you got to go. Just met you. Don't want to know you. And wait for it. Maybe Amari Cooper? I don't know. I dedicate this to all the made men. Let's go ahead and get it in. Talk to you later. Raiders for life. Wake up, Q-Dog.
He's one of the best.
My God.
He's one of the best, man. There's no doubt there is we love everybody that calls the show. And, but look, just like it, man, some people are really darn good at it. And Aaron's one of them, man. We love hearing his calls, funny, creative, and pretty much on point as usual, with his takes. Reggie, he's having a pretty good year in terms of tackles and things. But, like Q-Dog says, it's because he's kind of lost a step and he takes bad angles, so he ends up arriving at the ball carrier to make the tackles. Now, in defense of Q-Dog's call there, that was before this last game.
Sure.
And so, Coop showed up. So I'm willing to bet that old Amari Cooper's not going to be on the hit list next week.
No.
But anyways, great call, as usual, Q-Dog. Definitely one of the best. That's it?
That's it. Oh, okay. No. I was reading my notes.
I thought you were going to say something about
No,
Aaron.
man. I don't comment on the queue.
I know, right? All I do is just mess it up.
No,
let it go. All right, so here's a funny one. So one of the first made men here on Raiders Fan Radio was Chuck McCann. Chuck is the president of the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole. Chuck was a frequent caller to our show. He is, again, president of the fan club up there. And now, Uncle Mosh, he hosts a show on the Murf's Fan Cave Network. So he hosts a great show called the Fan Club Blitz, and they interview other Raiders fan clubs, booster clubs from around the country, and they have a fun show. They talk a lot about music, they talk about beers, they talk about food, they talk about all.
He's been around from day one.
And so anyway, so we're proud to have Chuck as an official member of the network, but every once in a while we'll still get a phone call from Chuck, and so here we go.
Hey, what's up, Murf and Uncle Mosh? It's Splatterhead. I know I got my own show now, but I'm still a made man, so I'm calling in. Besides, we already recorded, and I got some stuff to say after the game last night. The car was crashed, man. The team still has, look, that was a tough game going into. A lot of people we had the potential to win, and I thought mainly just because it was week one. Like, I going into to play the Rams week one at home, there was a possibility that we could have pulled something off and won that game. But look, it was the Rams, and they're stacked. That team is so stacked. Mm-hmm. For us to win, everything would have had to have clicked perfectly. And clicked perfectly, it did not. First half was good. What 145 penalty yards in the first half, maybe? Can't win games like that. Not anymore. We may be able to have done that in the 70s, right. 80s, but the way the rules in this game are now, you get 145 penalty yards in one half. You're hard pressed to do anything. And then the Rams, adjusted, came back out, and the tires went flat on the car. I hate to say it, but we have to stop making excuses for Derek Carr. The excuses last year, we made them. He was injured, bad play calling, something fell apart in the locker room. This guy's got to lead the team for 4 quarters, and he did not do that. He looked like a deer in the headlights. And, some of those balls, what was he doing? There's really no excuse for it at this point. Look, I know everybody loves Derek Carr, but a lot of people love Derek Carr because he's a stand-up guy, wholesome guy, Christian, all that stuff. And that's a fine reason to love somebody. But none of those things make an elite quarterback. You go back through our history with Derek Carr, he's never been an elite quarterback. And we have to stop coddling him and treating him like he ever has been. 2015, the dude threw picks left and right. 2016, a decent season. And a lot of those games pulled it out at the end. But if you look at him against the top defenses in the league, those are the games we lost. 2016, decent year, but not amazing. 2017, he fell apart. Yeah, injured, but again, we allowed for a lot of excuses last year. And this year, what are we going to do? We can't make excuses for what happened last night on that field. This isn't Derek Carr's lap. It's on your shoulders. It's on Derek Carr's shoulders last night. That loss rests on his shoulders. The next 3 games, we should win. If we can't go out and win these next 3 games, we're in trouble. Anyway, thanks for taking my call. I'm going to talk a lot more about it on my show, but I wanted to call in because I need somebody to vent to. Anyway, that's what we got. You know, Raider Nation, you know, pay attention to this. Pay attention to what's on the field. Forget about that guy that's in Chicago now, because you're going to have a long season if you keep harping on that. You're going to be miserable because he's not going to be here next week or the week after or the week after. That guy's gone. He's a Bear now. Forget it. All right. Hey, Denver, let's go kick the snot out of them. Go Raiders.
Hey, there we go. I love that take right there at the end. He's gone. Quit it.
He's gone.
He's gone. It's move on. Otherwise, you're going to be doing this to yourself all year long. You know what I mean?
When we go gambling and we walk away from a slot machine, we don't look back.
We don't look back.
Nah, I don't want to see
even
that
when
old
the bells start going off.
No, I go away faster. I don't want to see that old woman win. No. Nothing against the old woman, but I don't want to see her win.
The only reason I'm watching Bears games is because I want them to lose, because I want the Raiders to have a better draft pick.
There it is.
That's it. Great call, Chuck. Thank you for calling in. If you want to hear Chuck and his buddies from the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole, you can check out the Fan Club Blitz here on the Murph's Fan Cave Network. All right, Uncle Mosh, we just got a few left. Let's hear from Ken. This is after the Broncos game.
Murph, Uncle Mosh, this is Monster Mash Ken. Oh, man, another tough one. Another tough pill to swallow like a punch in the nuts with that Denver game. We should have came through with that win. There's no moral victories, but you know what? I think we're on the right track. Mm-hmm. You know, I still have faith. I'm not hitting the panic button yet. We still got a lot of football left to go. Very, very happy to see Carr just, you know, show that he is the captain of this team and he's the face of the franchise, and it just put up a phenomenal game as far as accuracy. Obviously, we could have used some more touchdowns, but you know what? It is what it is. Marshawn putting another one in the end zone, and God, that defense just so close, man. We got Arden Key so close every play, and Mo Hurst finally got his first sack. Really excited about that. But I got to point the finger at the other team captain on defense there, Bruce Irvin, number 51. You know, 51. That's one number short of 52, if you know what I mean. Anyway, hopefully he reviews the game tape. Maybe he was just gassed. Maybe he just didn't care. And I think he was a little bit out of his element, or whatever you want to call it. But he was off, and we needed him that game, especially in that the last 5 minutes of that game. We needed him to put up and act like a true leader for those young guns out there. But you know what? It is what it is. Let's move on to Miami. I think I really, really think we can take this game, and Gruden's got us pointed in the right direction. And then I'm watching the football game tonight. Right now, there's this ex-Raider on there putting up points. So I don't know why we let him go. Sebastian Janikowski, such a shame, walking Hall of Famer right there. It's bad to see him on another team. But you know what? It is what it is. All right, guys. Raider Nation, keep it real. Love you guys.
All right, thanks, Ken, for the call. As usual, I love that idea of that, Ken says, I see this ex-Raider up there putting up points in the game, and it's Sebastian Janikowski. That was pretty funny. Good job, Ken. So, yeah, man, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I thought those are great points, and I appreciate the feedback. As always, my man, keep them coming. All right, Uncle Mosh, next up, we're going to hear from another one, somebody that let me say this real quick before we get into this next call. Our next caller is Emiliano, Big Raider Trucker. And Emiliano, he and we met in person at the Raider game against the Rams on Monday Night Football. It was cool. Just had a little mini listener meetup. Got to meet him and his girlfriend Stephanie. They were great. I forgot. We did because I did an interview with Emiliano, and I knew we were going to do interviews and do some recording. I bought a new backpack. I bought a Raiders backpack while I was in Oakland to carry around the tailgate, and I took stuff out of my luggage and packed the thing. I forgot one of the adapters.
Oh no.
And so we did this interview, we did a 10-minute interview, and there's about 2 minutes of the audio that I was able to use.
Oh no.
I felt so bad, man. So Emiliano, sorry, man. I that was on the last episode, and we barely got any of that interview in there. You were great, and I want to get Emilio on to do we've done listener features with Q Dog. I want to do one of those next up, Emiliano. So we'll match our schedules up, and we'll get you on air. But anyway, I want to say that on the show that I apologize, man. That's my bad that I didn't get that recorded as properly as we would have liked to. But anyway, let's hear his call.
The man, the myth, the legend, it's a Big Raider Chucker checking in. Sonny, Murf, Uncle Mosh, how you guys doing? Just want to take a side note before I get into this. Murf, it was truly a blessing. I cannot say it enough getting to meet you down in Oakland. What an amazing heart you have, brother. I can't say it enough, man. It was just an absolute blessing on meeting you. For everyone who hasn't got the chance to meet him, this guy's so kick-ass. It's not even funny. All right, Raider Nation, let's get into it. Murf, I'm going to do a cross-reference, brother, because I was listening to you on Mondays with Mike and Murf. I'm going to try to make it fast. I heard you talking about Tom Flores not going to make it into the Hall of Fame. Don't quote me. I'm driving right now anyways. So, because you were saying it was Al Davis' team, and he pretty much was a puppet man. Like I said, I'm just throwing it out there. That wasn't quote for quote, Murf. Sorry about that. So I'm going to throw one at you and say, what we're seeing Chucky doing now, would he have done that back in the day? Because technically it was Al Davis' team, and we've heard from interviews from Brett Papa saying that once upon a time there was interviews and such, and Al Davis would come on the field and make sure and tell Pop, hey, make sure these mother effers know whose team this is. So, with that being said, was John Gruden Al Davis' puppet man? And we think John Gruden is just absolutely high and mighty, the second coming, and man, what an amazing coach. Would he have done this back in the day if he had this much power? A lot of people are upset about the Khalil Mack thing. We can't stop talking about it because Khalil Mack is absolutely balling out. Just want to get your hot take on that. Would John Gruden have done what he done back in the day? Think about it. Hey, would he have traded Charles Woodson? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a thought out there, guys. Otherwise, just keep it up. Keep up the good work, Raider Nation. Have faith, and Murf pulling you from last year. I have no expectations this year. Taking my antics and my craziness out of it, I'm just going to watch the Raiders play, baby. That's all that matters. All right, guys, you guys have a good one. I'm out.
Yeah, that's great advice, Emiliano, and I think I'm going to take that advice back from you, man. I'm not going to get my expectations up too much. I'm going to kind of temper it at this point and just enjoy it for what it is. It's Raider football every week, and we get to watch that, so I'm going to enjoy that. So as far as the question goes, would Gruden have traded Charles Woodson back in the day? Well, I think there was a different NFL back then. I think it was on the precipice of what it's become now, which is that whole, again, that building of a team in the model of the Patriots, which again I hate using that team as the example, but it's true. It's what it is. So I think it's a little bit different of the NFL now versus then. And Al was the kind of guy that would let people play out, and then he just wouldn't resign them. That's what he did with Nnamdi. It's what he did with Woodson. He demanded that they play out their contract, and then he would then sign them to the new more elaborate deal. So I don't think that it would have happened in that way like it did now. Now, as far as what am I trying to say? The emergence of Gruden as the coach and him, whether he was
Gruden 2.0,
the puppet and whatnot. He wasn't Al's puppet, and that's why Al traded him. I just pulled out while I was listening to your voicemail. We got the book here. I'll show it to you on screen. It's the Al Davis Behind the Raiders Shield. It's authored by Bruce Kebrick, John Kingdon, and Steve Corcoran. Two of those three authors have been on our show. John Kingdon was a longtime confidant of Al Davis. He was the director of college scouting. Steve Corcoran was the beat writer for, I believe it was the Contra Costa Times back then. And they shared rooms with Al Davis. They shared rooms with John Gruden. They saw that dynamic of that relationship unfold firsthand. And in this book, in which they account for a lot of that, there are 3 chapters. And follow me on this. Chapter number 10 is called John Gruden Striking Gold. Chapter 11 is called John Gruden the Rock Star. Chapter 12 is called Lane Kiffin, the search for the next John Gruden. Because John Gruden didn't allow for Al to get the credit. There was, if anything, John pushed to be the face of the organization. And if there was anything Al Davis was not going to allow for, good or bad, and a lot of times bad, he wasn't going to allow for anyone else to get credit. And so John Gruden was not what Tom Flores was back in the day, because Tom Flores knew better, frankly. He knew his role. He never fought against Al. He never battled Al. Gruden did, and that's why Gruden was gone. So I don't think and now, look, if we can align ourselves with different opinions based on who, what, whatever, but at the end of the day, all I know is this. The last time we were any good with any regularity was when John Gruden was our head coach. So whether Al wanted to take credit for it or not, whether John was going to be bigger than the team or not, none of that stuff matters to me as a fan. What matters to me is that we were winners back then, and now we're not. And so hopefully we will be again with John Gruden returning to the forefront.
There you go.
What do you think?
There you go. No, I agree. I mean, it's true. And if you were to interview Gruden, he would tell you the same thing.
Yes.
He wouldn't make any bones about it.
Yes, absolutely.
But Gruden's not going to do that. Gruden's going to move on. He's going to look at the big picture, the big plan, and where we go from here.
Absolutely.
All
right, here we go. So we got two more, Mosh. This next one, I say I have a lot of favorites. So I do every week because I really enjoy listening to your voicemails, and please keep them coming. And thank you guys for calling those in. Definitely call us back again for this week because, again, we're going to keep featuring more and more voicemails as we go along through the course of the year. So, anyways, we got another new caller, and we got a new caller that's at a market, and he hits some killer points. This dude is behind enemy lines. He is a Raider fan just outside of Denver, and this call is fantastic. Let's listen to Mike in Colorado.
Hey, Murph. My name is Mike. I'm calling from Colorado Springs, Colorado, about 45 minutes south of Denver. Excuse my voice. I kind of came down with a cold after the Raider-Bronco game. Waited 9 years to go to the Raider-Bronco game. Been a Black Monday. I call them Black Mondays because we've had so many losing Sundays that makes Mondays really miserable. Usually by Tuesday I'm kind of getting over it, but I'm not able to kick it yet. And there's all this division amongst Raider fans. It just really got me, was kind of depressed, and then I'll try to be as positive as I can, but, a few points I want to get across. So I've been a Raiders fan since the Bo Jackson era. I don't remember too many winning seasons except for when John Gruden was our coach. And we sucked before him and we sucked after him. We've had 7 winning seasons in 32 years. That's 1 winning season every 4 to 5 years. All right? So we weren't good before Gruden. We weren't good after. I fought 15 years, hard years, hoping, praying, fighting with Raider fans, other fans that John Gruden would come back. We need a coach that's going to have our back, who's going to fight with us till the end. And let's look at how John Gruden got his nickname Chucky. It was because he was pissed off the last 2 minutes of the game because we blew it. Raiders did the Raider flop, and they blew the darn game. And against who? John Elway Broncos. I've lived in Montana, Washington, Texas. Raiders are the most hated team in the NFL. I guarantee it. No matter where I've lived, always getting hated on. People that we never even play hate the Raiders. People wasting their time on hating us, just like Raider fans hating the Niners. They should be Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Patriots, Steelers. That's our real foes. Anyways, point is, between the Raiders lawsuit, John Gruden coming back, getting the $100 million contract, obviously the Mac trade and other turnover in the team. Nobody wants to win a Super Bowl more than me. Nobody. I mean, I've sat there when I was a kid getting almost beat up by Bronco fans when I lived in Montana. Same thing in Texas. Same thing right here in Donkeyville. That's right, Donkeyville, Colorado. Go to work, you have 20, 30 people, first thing in the morning want to come kick you in the groin, no matter if it was the Broncos we lost to or another team. So you know what? You want to be a fan? Not you, but other fans that are wanting to jump ship. Try living in a place where 15, 20 plus years, like no matter where I've lived, it's always been the same. I did live in California for 9 years. It was really weird to see other Raider fans and be around other Raider fans. But what I realized, a lot of them weren't even Raider fans. They weren't fans until 2001, 2002, started doing good, and we're going to the Super Bowl. And then where are they now? They're the same people that want to jump ship. It disgusts me. I see the same thing living here in Donkeyville. People that say they're Bronco fans and the Peyton Manning when he got hurt and all of it. They're not real fans. They're bandwagoneers. That's what I call it, bandwagoneers. It's a joke. John Gruden's not going to coach forever. Who's going to take over the team to live to continue the Al Davis legacy once John Gruden doesn't want to be a coach anymore? I mean, who's going to be the GM? You think it's going to be Reggie? I don't think so. So he's probably not going to get ownership of the team, but the Raiders need somebody that's at least going to continue the Raiders to where they need to be. We need a coach that, no matter if a referee's folding a piece of paper that he pulled out of his whatever, that is going to have the team's back and not be afraid to get fined like Jack Del Rio. I mean, it's a joke. They need a coach that's going to be upset or whatever and stick with the team until the last second ticks off that clock. Game is not over until it's over. Raider fans need to stop thinking the game's over when there's 4 or 5 minutes left in the darn game. We've lost so many games like that. It just makes me sick. Our time's coming. We've been at the bottom for a long time. The only way to go is up. We've been through a lot. It's either time to unite, together we stand, divided we fall, or go be a Bronco fan or a Chiefs fan and jump ship, or be a Weiner fan. We don't want you anyways. Bleed silver and black, Raiders for life. Love you, Murph. Amen.
Boom. If this was a Jim Rome show, I'd say rack him.
Gosh, drop the mic, Mike.
Isn't that great? Mike, awesome call, dude. Definitely call us back. He hit on so many cool things there. The legacy of Al Davis, guess what? It's entrusted now to John Gruden. So any reverence that you have for Al, there's only one guy that's capable of carrying that on at this point, and that's going to be John. I thought that was fantastic. I love the fact that he brought up about being fiery, about like the whole index card thing, about John Gruden would blast
my gosh.
everybody involved on that. Those were excellent, excellent points, Mike. Absolutely well done.
Good job. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. And I love the fact, like you said, he's been supporting the Raiders behind enemy lines everywhere he goes, and all those places he's lived. I've lived in a handful of those. We together lived in Denver for a while, and I mean, it is donkey world, man. It is. It's out of control. So
absolutely
good for him. Good for Mike.
Yeah, man.
I saw him. I think
when you were there earlier this year.
No. The Sunday when they were showing the crowd, and I think I saw one black jersey.
Yeah,
that was him.
That was him.
Yeah, that was him. We saw Mike.
Hey, and you know what? And I we're friends with the guys from the Pillaging Podcast, and I listen to their show. When I do listen to Raiders podcasts, they're the ones that I typically listen to, and they like to say use a term like Raider Nation, don't act brand new. Don't act brand new. Don't act like, first off, don't act like we've been winning for like, there's like, you know what I mean? Like for the last freaking 16 years haven't been absolute misery for our football team. Don't act like we've got some freaking like, like we've been in the playoffs every year or something. Like don't act brand new. And then also, again, like we talked about with Al Davis, having players play out their contract and then having them go off to other places. Don't act brand new. This is not the first time we've had star players leave.
Seriously.
Charles Woodson, Nnamdi Asomugha, you know what I mean? Like Kenny Stabler. Like, easy, man. Don't act brand new, right? Yeah. So, anyways, great call, Mike. Way to hold it down. Way to represent Raider Nation. And, all right, one more, Mosh, and then we'll get out of here. Man, I'm telling you, every once in a while, we'll get a message that's much big. All this stuff, we can sit here and argue about football players, and we can argue about football, and we can talk about football and all that. But every once in a while, our show kind of transcends a little bit, and that's when it's best. And so listen to this, Mosh.
Hello, Murf and Uncle Mosh. My name is Rain Bear from Tulare, California.
Rain Bear.
Watching the game right now in the third quarter. I got a chance to watch from being in ICU during having after a stroke during this week after the Rams game. I have to say you and Uncle Mosh and Mikey on your other show got me through the time in ICU. I really appreciate it. I also like to say that a lot of the fans who were on Carr's bandwagon all of a sudden jumped off this last week. I think it was way too soon. You can't judge a player or a team until you've had at least 8 games into the season. Raider Nation for life. Go Raiders. All right. You guys have a good day.
First off, great call. A great take. And, yeah, the guy has a stroke and is in ICU, and he's listening to us during his recovery. I'm like,
man, that's awesome.
Oh, my gosh. I mean,
man.
That's freaking cool, man. Like, first off, prayers up and rapid recovery for you.
Absolutely.
I got a message from him as well. His name is Tim.
Okay.
So thank you, Tim, for the kind words. And man, that's just, I'm glad that if our show does things like that, like help somebody get through a recovery after a life-threatening occurrence, like that's what it's all about. Like,
man, that was awesome. And what a great take too. Like it's when it's all said and done, it's a game.
It's a game.
You know,
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So call us back. And thank you to everybody that called the show tonight. Thank you to the literal sea of fans. We had a lot tonight, Uncle Mosh, because we were out after the Rams game. So we kind of combined 2 weeks together. But keep them coming. We will definitely feature your voicemails every week here on Raiders Fan Radio. We only got 3 minutes on Google Voice. So get them in, get them concise, make them good. And if we play your voicemail 3 times, you become a made man on Raiders Fan Radio.
We are Metallica, and we are here for your Oakland Raiders! You know why we are here, and we ain't playing around today!
From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
My favorite part.
So, Gamash, a few weeks ago, I don't remember how many shows it was, whatever, 1 or 2 shows ago, we did a feature called Tailgating Too Much, and where we took some audio of you and me and Mikey, and it's completely coherent, sober, ramblings or whatever, vocal tracks. And we plug them into the software, and we pitch them down. And when you do that, it sounds like you've been drinking. It sounds like you've been tailgating too much.
Maybe hitting the bourbon in Florida somewhere.
Watching the Blue Angels. Yeah, exactly. So Q-Dog might definitely make it to the tailgating too much next time. But for this episode, so we took... I told you guys we were going to feature some of our made men. I gave you a fair warning. And so we've got a made man. So last week we were self-deprecating. We picked on us. We picked on me and you and Mikey. So this week we're going to pick on Derek Carr, John Gruden, and one of our made men. First up, let's hear from our quarterback, Derek Carr. Derek probably has never had a bit of alcohol his entire life. But
he had a rum cake. He had a piece of rum cake one time.
That's right. And here on Raiders Fan Radio, that one piece of rum cake was tailgating too much.
Yeah, I meet with him, every morning, and he'll say something to me in that meeting, at whatever 5:30, and then he won't bring it up the rest of the day, and then he'll throw it at me in practice, and that's after all the meetings, after all the conversations, after all those things, making sure I still. I'm on top of the little thing that he gave me in the morning, and just, it just continues to push me, man, to get absolutely everything out of me. And, it's been really cool.
Isn't that funny?
That is so much fun.
Oh, my gosh. Old Derek Carr, man. One piece of rum cake, and he's been tailgating too much. All right, Ron says you can hear the hot sweats in these clips. All right, next up, let's hear what John Gruden sounds like when he's been tailgating too much.
Yeah, he did good. He did good. Yeah, he takes some shots, we did take some shots. We hit a couple in the second half. We had one called back for offensive pass interference, if you recall that. You can't hold the ball very long when they're blitzing like that with the rushers that they do have. We had balance today. I don't know what Derek was throwing the ball, but he didn't have very many incompletions. The one that were incomplete hit the ground, I think, hit our receivers in the hands. I think he could have hit every pass.
There's John Gruden after he's been tailgating too much. Oh, my gosh. All right, last one.
Favorite software.
Last one, Uncle Mosh. So, Ron, it's just timely, Ron, that you had a comment.
Yeah.
Because, Ron, congratulations. You were the first made man that's been put into the software and has been tailgating too much. And this was from a call that Ron had from last year. So you'll hear some familiar names in there like Todd Downing, right?
Yeah.
This is amazing. This is so funny. So here you go, Ron.
Guys, Ron from Alliance. Apparently our team is milquetoast. I have no clue how you come out that flat in that big of a game. If Todd Downing is still our offensive coordinator by the time this voicemail is played, then I'm gonna go nuts. Because that was the Buffalo game all over again. Man, what a sorry game. I'm not gonna waste any more time talking about it. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
Was that a sorry game?
Sorry.
When you said coordinator.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
that kills me.
Too funny. All right. Thank you for being a good sport, Ron. I see he's laughing in there. It's too funny, man, doing that. So we'll do that. Might have to take that Q Dog when we talk about drinking bourbon, watching the Blue Angels, man.
We gotta find some of these guys that go, we love you, man, because that's the only thing.
Oh
you, man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, too funny.
Everybody listening to us is having flashbacks to college.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Or after the Broncos game,
or Sunday.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, too funny. All right, y'all. Well, that's all we got for this week of Raiders Fan Radio. Long episode, but man, we had a lot to get to. Took a week off as I traveled up and down the coast of California.
Okay.
Went from Palm Springs to Hollywood to Oakland, California.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a fun trip, man. I think that might have been my last trip to the Oakland Coliseum, which is of course is bittersweet. It was amazing to be there. Checked the box off the bucket list there, sitting in the black hole. Was very flattered that Chuck asked me to represent the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole, and flew that flag proudly and took some pictures down there holding the flag. Went to the official Black Hole tailgate, and it was just a really, really cool experience. You know my buddy Harley. We've been friends for 30 years, and he and I we've been going to games and things together for our whole lives practically, and so that was good to go with him to that. Of course, missed you not being able to be there, Sonny, but still had a great time there and representing not only the Black Hole, but also representing Raiders Fan Radio and Murf Fan Cave. Was pretty cool, man. It was really really embraced by the fans and listeners and everybody else.
And
so
you've got some videos that you've posted and stuff, and it looks like y'all had a blast.
Yeah, it was
absolute blast.
Great time, man. So definitely check our stuff out. It's here on YouTube, and then of course everything is on the podcast. So you can support our podcast in multiple different ways. The best way is to like it and subscribe to it on iTunes or Google Play. I guess now it's Apple Podcasts.
Okay.
And then there's Google Podcasts, and everybody's got their own thing. We're on all the services, so you can Google. I had a lot of people even ask me just as recently as today, because I post links to our stuff on Facebook, and I had a guy say, if I don't want to sit here with Facebook open, how can I find your stuff? Well, just search for us. Just search for Raiders Fan Radio. Search for Murf's Fan Cave. That's really the preferred way, I would say, at this point. Mm-hmm. That's the catch-all feed that gets all the different shows. Gets you this show, Raiders Fan Radio, gets you Mondays with Mikey and Murf, and then gets the Fan Club Blitz. And so all those are under Murf's Fan Cave. You can find that stuff at murffancave.com. But like and subscribe to the podcast. That's the best way that you can certainly help us out. Subscribe to us on YouTube, any of that kind of stuff. Anywhere there's that thumbs up button, hit that, and that does wonders for supporting us here in what we do. I would say you can support us by buying a T-shirt too, but we're sold out, so we don't have any shirts left. So we haven't really talked a ton about it. We haven't been together much here lately, other than for the Broncos game. But we'll get some ideas together. We really need to kind of get that set up, because again, we're getting more requests for the next,
we'll get that rolling here
incarnation.
Quick. So as we wind down, we start talking about finishing out the show. We've got a tagline that we're going to hit here in a second, but we also got a tagline contest.
Yes,
and we had a couple of rough weeks there, but folks are going to come up with some stuff. We're having a little tagline contest, best and worst taglines, and we'll hear them, we'll play them. We might even, on the worst ones, we might even throw the tailgating too much to them.
Oh, nice, nice.
That might be weird. So we'll have some fun with that. So you can go ahead and call those in, or you can email them in. Either way.
Absolutely.
Just check us out on any of our social media sites and let us hear your tagline.
Absolutely. Ron had a great one last week, or week before last, and it was something about off-season debacles. We're Raider Nation from the bottom of our cockles or something like that. That was great. Very, very funny. So definitely keep those things coming back in. So, and appreciate everybody that's in the chat. The chat has been very active tonight. We've got I think we're official, Mosh. We got some haters, which is okay. We welcome all opinions.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? As long as it stays respectful, we don't begrudge anybody for having an opinion.
And we don't have different opinions than us.
Absolutely. We don't expect anybody to always agree with us, so definitely welcome those and have at it, man. Go for it. Just as long as you're kind to one another, that's all I care about, man. Don't turn it into us versus you and name call, or as long as none of that stuff is going on, then we don't care. Have the debate. That's what the whole genesis of this thing, way back in the day, since it's our 2-year anniversary, I'll say this. The whole genesis of this was, what would it sound like if Sonny and I were sitting in a sports bar and we were talking about the team? Exactly. What would that sound like? And what would that sound like when we interacted with somebody that we didn't know? That's where the Sea of Fans thing came from, was that we want to hear from somebody else. We want to hear an alternate opinion. I'll keep all that. So, you know what I mean? So that's what it's all about. It's all about debate. It's all about discussion. And it's all about your passion for the team. That's all we care about, is how passionate you are. And, of course, just be kind to one another in the process. And, there's plenty of reasons in the world to be divided, and let's not use football as being one of them, right? So, all right, Uncle Mosh, you got anything else for us?
That's it.
Carhartt, folks, thank you again. 47 hats. Go check them out. Go check that out, and that's it. That's all we got. So hit us with the tagline. Oh, how about this? Do we win? I think we're gonna whip the Dolphins' ass. I think this is gonna be I think Gruden's gonna have us ready. I think he's gonna have them fired up, and I think that it's important for us to get not only a win, Uncle Mosh, but a definitive win. I think not only do we need to win this game, but we need to win it by like 20, because that will turn the narrative around quick and in a hurry. What do you think?
I think we're going to see another game plan, and I think we're not going to be surprised, because we know going into it that our quarterback is going to stick with his game plan, and I think we're going to see a whole nother side of a defense out there. Yeah. I think the defense is going to play 4 quarters.
Awesome.
Awesome.
We'll need them.
It's not going to be the tale of 2 halves again.
Oh,
like it has been for the last couple of weeks. So there you have it.
All right, Uncle Mosh, love it. Hit us with tagline.
Raiders for life. Wake up, Q-Dog.
Well done. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Go Raiders.
What a sorry game. I'm not going to waste any more time talking about it. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
Was that a sorry game?